So hi everybody. I'm super excited to have everyone here. Like we said, this is going to be one of our bigger ones for a while, so for in a while. So we're really excited to get everything out there for you all. And you know what we're doing, surveys and AI. We really wanted to focus on this just because a lot of our AI tools are focused in our AI assisted tools are focused in our surveys. Uh, and yeah, we have some content around it, but we really wanted to showcase it because there's so much that you can actually do with these AI assisted tools, and so much that you can do with surveys in order to assist your daily uh, analysis or your daily planning in general. So we wanted to pair those two together to give you a really nice, jam-packed information overload of a webinar hosted by Aneta. I almost called you a webinetta. Hosted by Aneta.
That's my nickname. That's my nickname for the webinar.
Webinetta. So today what we're going to cover top 10 surveys tips, and this is going to include just like straight up tips, but also tutorials, and that is going to show you around, give you a full understanding of how to use the best or get the best of the best from our surveys in AI. Um, Also, we want to talk about the analysis tools that we have for AI as well. So we're going to dive into those. And then we're going to go into QA. So I know it seems like it's a very short agenda, but like we said, this is very action packed. It's a lot of information. If you feel like you're getting lost, there's going to be a recording. Also, feel free to ask any questions you have in the Q&A section. If you go down to the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a Q&A button, so you can throw them in there. You can also throw the questions into the webinar chat as well, and I can answer those. But if you don't want them to get lost, I would definitely put them into the Q&A section so that when we get to that Q&A time, we can make sure to answer those questions for you and everybody. Last thing I wanted to mention is that my internet is not very great today. So my screen might go off, but I am still here. I'm still answering questions. I'm still launching polls and helping out. So feel free to keep those questions coming in. Other than that, over to you, Aneta.
Thank you, Carissa, for the intro. And let's start strong with our 10 tips to optimize your survey setup for maximum insights. We are going to revisit a couple of basics, of course, because I am aware that everyone has a different level of understanding of all the features of the Ask tools. But I am going to go into a lot of detail today. So if you all have know your notes app ready to open, or maybe pen and paper, or well, however you want to interact with the content, I'm going to give you a lot of tips, smaller details, so be ready for that. But at the same time, I am going to try to make sure that it's available for everyone on each and every level of understanding of Hatta. So let's start strong with the AI-based generation of questions. My tip number one for you is to generate infinite survey question ideas with AI. I'm going to jump straight into insights to show you how this works. Probably you've already created a survey or in the past, but have you tried this one? When you click New Survey and click Let AI generate it, you are going to get the screen, which generally works a little bit like ChatGPT style prompt. You can define your goal, whatever you want the survey to be about. You can just input the text, and we are going to generate questions. As for me, I am going to try to discover the main usability problems. I'm going to use the one that is already predefined for me. I'm going to adjust it a little bit for my setup page and maybe for my SaaS website. I'm clicking generate questions. And let's wait a little bit for the AI to do the magic. And what I'm getting is basically a ready to publish survey. But of course, I wouldn't just go ahead and set it to active and publish on my website. I'm going to go into questions and review what AI actually proposed for me for this specific scenario. I can see different types of questions. How easy was it to find the setup button on the page, as an example, were the instructions provided during the setup process clear and easy to follow, etc. What I really like about this feature is included in the tip. I said infinite questions, generate infinite questions, not by accident, but on purpose. I can just click add questions and keep generating the questions like this. I can just go on. If I have a creative block, I cannot think of any ideas, I can just use this button to create infinite survey question ideas, and to take a look and make sure that I adjust the messaging to my branding, to my tone of voice, to my specific use case. What else can I do with these? I can adjust the answer types. So, for example, the AI proposed radio buttons, but I can take a look and choose from other scenarios. For example, reactions, long text answers, short text answers, checkboxes, email. We have all of these options for you ready to be used. And this is the time for our quiz for you, because I want this to be very interactive. So Carissa, could you launch our poll? I have two questions because we are going to talk about the AI. What preliminary setup is necessary to enable the AI-powered analysis of survey responses? So what do we need to set up to make sure that when we start receiving some responses, we can use AI to analyze it. First answer, choosing a link survey during the setup stage, choosing long or short text answers in the survey setup stage. A survey needs to consist of at least 3 questions. So let me know. Don't be shy. There are wrong answers, but don't worry, it's not a test. I just want to know if you if you have an idea. There's one answer that's actually the right one, but you can just choose whichever you think would be the one that's actually correct. There are no bad grades. And the second question, you can add images to the following question types: reaction, checkboxes, radio buttons, or maybe long and short text answers, statements, or all of the question types. What do you think? As I said, I'm going a little bit into details like with the images, but I'm trying to give you some of the tips that maybe are not so common to find.
I don't even know one of these answers.
That was a tricky one, right? That's a tricky one.
Yeah, it's the second one. I'm just like, what?
Try answering, Carissa, then.
Mm, I think it's for two. I think it's reactions, checkboxes, and radio buttons.
Uh, don't listen to Carissa,
Oh,
then.
no, no, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going
Thanks for
to
your
end this.
responses. Let's review the correct response. So the correct answer is choosing long or short text answers in the survey setup stage. This is very important, and I'm really happy that I can share something that maybe is not as well known as we might thought. I'm really happy to show you this one. It's located right here. If when you are choosing the response types, you should choose long text answer. It looks like this. Like this. This is the text box that users can input their answers into. And the other one is short text answer. This is just the size that changes, but generally to enable the AI response analysis, we need some text input from the users, right? So we need some sentences, we need some text for the AI to be able to start the analysis. Do we have do we have some questions, Carissa? Because I can see something popping up. Let me know if.
No, there's no written questions. So if you do have a question, rather than raising your hand, if you could just put it in the Q&A or into the comments section, I can get that answered right away.
Sure. So let me know. And the second one, the right answer is all question types. That was a tricky one, I know. So you can see you can add images right here. You can do it for all of these question and answer types. This is a practice that could be kind of relevant, for example, um, for a full screen survey. If you want to grab a little bit more of attention of the user, if you really want this survey to stand out a little bit, or maybe you want to explain something in a graphic way, then you can use this option to add an image to the survey and make it a little bit more special. Of course, it depends on the flow, but it's good to know that this option actually exists. I'm going to go back to the tips to repeat again and to make sure that we have this We have this on the screen. Please remember, if you want to use the AI response analysis, to include long or short text answers to allow for AI response analysis. So this is very, very important. Tip number 3, create different paths based on users' answers. So we are going to go back to questions. And as we talked a little bit about different question types, different answer types, what I would recommend you to do, or to experiment with maybe, is to create a specific scenario for different groups of users depending on their answers. So I would encourage you to personalize your survey based on the answers of the users. What do I mean by that? Let's say I am choosing this question. And did you encounter any error messages while filling out the sign up form? And let's say I have a yes or no answer for this question, right? So the user can answer yes, or the user can answer no. And now, based on this question, I may want to serve different set of questions for a person who answered yes, and a different set of questions that answered to a person that answered no. To set this up, we are going to take a look at this section. After this question, go to specific question based on answer. And now we can create our customized scenario for the user. So if option 1 is selected, you can go to, let's say, question number 6. If option 2 is selected, we go to, let's say, question number 7. Depends on where we are in the flow. So I would totally recommend to experiment with this, because you know that personalization is a big thing when you are trying to communicate with your user. You can also let the user know that you're actually listening to them and you have the questions ready for them, and you don't serve the general questions to each and every person that you're interviewing. Do you have any questions at this point? And is it the right pace? Am I going too fast, too slow? Let me know.
We actually had a really good question about if these options are available without the use of AI, right? And the answer is yes. The AI tooling that we use with Ask in our surveys are specifically just an additional help. So even if you go in and you want to set up a survey manually, you'll still have access to giving specific questions based on an answer. You'll still have access to adding as many different types of survey responses as you want. Even adding questions with AI is available there, even if you don't want to create the whole survey with AI.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, so this is it about the questions section. We are going to go to the type section of the survey creation, and it's time for next question. Carissa, can you help us out? How many survey types can you choose from? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? Let's see.
And then it got really mean with these questions this time.
I was trying to do it. I was trying to make them a little bit harder to make sure that we we can interact a little bit about and talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, I was reading these questions yesterday, and I was like, "Damn, Anetta's really going in. She's asking like if you know this, like you're a superstar."
Yeah, it's like what I said before, like there are wrong answers, but there's no consequence, right? Like it's just for the learning experience. And I think that when you can interact with questions, it's sometimes easier to remember when we make a mistake. So that's the reasoning.
I'll leave this on for a couple more seconds, but just a quick reminder, any questions, feel free to add them to the webinar chat or the Q&A. And I will end this for you, Anetta.
Yay. So everyone's either correct or really close, because the correct answer is 5. Well, let's take a look at the types then. First of all, we have popover survey. This is the one that is showing up at the bottom of the page, right here or right here. You can customize it. I can see the question. Okay. You can customize it in the appearance section. This is the basic customization that you can do, color or a position on the page. The full screen survey is the one that grabs the most attention of the user, because it shows up at the center of the user screen. And this is something that you can also customize in the appearance section to match your branding. The button survey is interesting because it's very similar to the feedback widget, but you have way more customization options in the questions area because you can add a series of questions and you can customize the messaging as well. It looks like this, or maybe like this. You can see it live on the website. And what is important to remember about this specific one is that in the appearance section, you have additional setting, which is called button label. And you can change the default feedback name to whatever you want to. So contact us or maybe share your thoughts, whatever matches your branding. It's good to remember that it's actually possible to customize this one. Going back to the survey types, we have also link surveys, which are perfect for any type of email campaign, social media campaign, because these are standalone pages that have a separate survey flow. They are not displayed on your website. So you can share them with your audience at any moment of their journey that's not specifically while they're browsing your website. And the last one I wanted to mention, because this one is sometimes a little bit forgotten, and it has a specific setting that I wanted to show you. It's embedded survey. So these surveys are an integral part of your website. They are shown as an element in line with your website content. And this is also related to the tip that I wanted to give you, is because the tip is to actually go ahead and try embedded surveys. I want to recommend trying this out because for different audiences, different survey types can work better or worse. And if you go ahead and try an embedded survey, it may turn out that maybe you have better, more responses, or maybe people are more likely to interact with your survey. So if we take a look at the embedded survey setup, if we go to targeting, we can see already that something's happening. And the reason why we have this error message, or maybe this mark right here, is that we need to actually provide the position of on the page for the survey to appear. We need to provide the target element selector from your website to tell Hodger where the survey should be displayed. I'm going to show you an example. So for example, let's say I want to embed this survey on my website. Maybe right here, after this specific title, I want the survey to be shown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click Inspect. I'm going to go to DevTools here. I'm going to click right-click and copy, not the element, but the copy selector. Copy selector is the thing that you want if you want to embed your survey on your website. Once I copy this, I'm going to go back, copy paste it, and we are all set up. You don't need any additional setup. You don't need to go into your source code of the website to embed the survey. This is going to work, and your survey will be shown in this specific place that you chose. Any questions related to survey types or different setups at this point? Let me know, because this is a very important stage in the setup process.
Not seeing anything. One question I did have about AI in general was if it was only in English. And that's a really good question. So I reached out to the support team, and I'm going to try to get an answer for you all before the end of this call. And then actually we did get another question about the embedding. And this is, does it replace the element or place below?
Below. It places it below. Yeah. Good question. Very good question. Thanks for that. Okay, let's move on then. I'm going to change the setup to popover because this is what we are going to work with. We are going to tip number 5 right now, which is to use surveys to understand your A/B testing results better. We're going to go into the realm of targeting your surveys and finding the right moment to display your survey and finding the right audience to display your survey as well. So let's imagine you are conducting an A/B test. You have the variant A of your website and the variant B of your website, and you want to learn more about the impression of the users who interact with the B version of your website. So what you can do is you can set up an event that informs Hodger that variant B is being loaded for the user. And then you can show the survey only to people who interact with the B version of the website. How do you do that? Well, we are going to go to the targeting section, and we are going to use the pages or events category in the targeting section. We're going to use specific pages or events, choose events, event, and let's say my event is called variant B. We're not going to go into the setup of events during this call, but Carissa will send you a help center doc that explains how to set this up. Sometimes, depending on your website setup, it might be necessary to talk to someone from the development team to help you out with this. But once you do this, it's a very convenient tool that helps you target based on specific interactions with your website. Any questions about events? Because if not, I have a question for you.
It looks like there is. Somebody actually asked a question about event. They didn't know they were asking a question about events. But they said, can we set up a survey so that it's triggered when users click on a button that is part of the UI?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be specifically a use case for events as well. So you'd need to set up an event informing Hotjar. This is a specific a piece of code that you need to add to your website that informs the Hotjar about this specific interaction. So again, I encourage you to visit our help center for the details because it's a process that needs some copy pasting and needs a little bit of setting up, but it's definitely worth setting up because the customization options that are opening up with events are very, very wide. You have a lot of options.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to launch this question that Anita had for you.
Again, it's a harder one, but I think you might have an idea after this question that was asked. So the question is, can you target users who entered a discount code on your website?
They've learned too much.
You learn really, really quickly. I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the correct answer is yes. And I'm really happy that it came through because this is specifically another use case for events. You can set this up for a variant of the page. You can set this up for a specific button, for a specific interaction, just like adding a discount code during the registration or during a purchase. So the correct answer is yes. Thank you for participating in a survey. We are going to move on to tip number 6 then, which is to enable survey screenshots for better insights. Is there anyone that knows what I'm talking about? Let me know in the chat because it's a small little setting that's kind of hidden in the survey creation process, but maybe someone already used it. I'm going to show you, of course, what it looks like and what I'm talking about, but I'm curious to see.
Not seeing any yeses yet.
Yes.
Oh, yep. A couple of yeses.
Yes.
Oh, 3.
Yeah. Great. We are going to take a look at the behavior section where this setting is located. Generally, the behavior section helps you adjust a little bit more the right timing and frequency of the survey that's being displayed. And at the bottom of this page, you also have this screenshot setting that allows you to capture the exact moment when the user started responding to a survey. So imagine you have a popover survey that's displayed at the bottom of the page. It's always there, but during at a specific moment while scrolling, the user decides to answer this pop-up survey or popover survey, or maybe it's a button survey. It's very useful to know sometimes when specifically the user decided to answer the question. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in real time. So these are the results of a survey. As an example, I can show you the one that we did for localization in Japanese. And here is the screenshot setting here's what happens when the screenshot setting is actually turned on. For each response, you have a screenshot of the moment when the user started responding to a survey. It's quite interesting to see because it's not always the same moment. And depending on your goals, it might be worth setting up to make sure that you have the full picture and the full context of the user journey. You can go even one step further and click here and take a look at the recording and see at which moment during the user journey they decided to respond to your survey. So this is kind of like a tool for you to expand the context of the response and to learn a little bit more about the user experience. We are going to go back to our tips. And we are going to go to tip number 7, which is automate your survey response monitoring. You have a couple of options with Hotjar that allow you to send a notification about new incoming survey responses. Let's dive right in. You can set this up in the forward response section. The most basic one is email. You can turn it on right here. But one of my favorite is actually the Slack integration, because this is the tool that we are using all the time at the company. You can set it up as an integration. You choose the Slack channel that you want the responses to be sent to. A pro tip here is to actually choose the responses that are the most relevant for the context. So you don't have to send all of the responses from your survey. If you have, for example, 10, you might limit this notification only to 2 or 1 to keep the communication clear and keep it as relevant as possible. Any questions? I like to check in because I'm really curious to see if you would like to follow up with anything.
Nothing yet.
Cool.
I do have a couple of good QA ones for the Q&A, so that's exciting.
Cool. Great to hear that. Tip number 8, let AI do the tagging for you. As you might remember from the tip number 2, I believe, if you set up your short or long text answers, you'll be able to use the AI analysis to analyze your responses. So I'm going to go straight into the view when I can show this to you. We have 2 tools that help you with tagging your responses. The first one is called sentiment analysis. It's located right here. And the other one is called automated tags. I already set this up before this call because I wanted the results to show you to show you the results in real time. And when you turn this on, sometimes you need to wait maybe 30 seconds, maybe 5 minutes. You don't know. It depends, of course, on the amount of responses that you have and the AI availability, let's say. So I did it before the call, but generally, if you want to turn this on, if you want to turn on the sentiment analysis, the only thing you need to do is to click and turn this toggle on. Then what will happen? All your open-ended text messages will be tagged with positive, negative, or neutral. This gives you an idea of the tone of the message and generally the vibe from your responses. And as you can see, for this survey, I have a couple of positives, I have some negatives, and I also have some neutrals. So I can have an idea of what is happening, what the responses are, what the general sentiment of the survey responses is. What I can do later on is I can filter by sentiment as well. So I can make my analysis a little bit easier and choose, for example, only positive responses and take a look only at these. Apart from that, I can go to the results tab right here, choose the question that I want to analyze, and I'm going to see a sentiment breakdown as well for the specific question. So I can take a look at how users feel, positive, negative. I can take a look at sentiment over time, depending on the specific date. And I can take a look at some examples from positive, neutral, or negative responses. So this is a very useful tool if you want to just get the general idea of the survey responses at the tone. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can use the second AI feature, which is called automated tags. When you click this one on, when you turn this one on, you will get this screen. I'm clicking edit just because I did it before the call, but this is what you will get when you turn this on for the first time. What you can do here is you can define your own tags. So let's say I am launching a survey after a new release of a new feature, and I'm really interested in people who might experiencing bugs, might experiencing some issues on mobile devices, or maybe I'm interested in feature requests for future developments, right? So I did exactly that. Once you click Save Changes, you will get these tags added automatically as well to your responses. So then you can take a look and you can find the responses that match the specific context, that match your specific research topic. Of course, you can delete these tags if you'd like, if this is something that's not relevant for your project, or you can add your own tags as well. So this is something that you can also do manually and enrich this initial AI analysis with your own insights. And the last thing that is worth mentioning here is that you can also filter by these tags. So let's say I want to take a look at feature requests. I'm going to click apply, and they are all here filtered out and ready to be investigated a little bit further. So this
And
is what
this,
our, yeah?
and this might be a difficult question, but I'm not sure. But somebody asked, when you're using AI tags, is it possible to know if it was done by an AI or the user?
I think at this point, you only have tags available as a general category. Let's add one. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that they all look the same. For example, let's test this out, but I am pretty sure that we are going to be, yeah, they look the same. So you, at this point, you can only see the tags. But a good question. That's a good question. So to recap, I'm going to go back here and give you tip number 9, which is to generate a ready-to-share survey summary powered by AI. So this is the next step of our AI analysis. Also includes a summary of the responses that I'm going to show you right now. This one is available right here at the top on the right. So all the AI features are pretty close to each other. You'll find them whenever you see these little stars. When I click here, I can generate report. I already generated it, so I'm going to just view it. And this is the summary. If you are short on time, if you want to share the general insights with your team, or maybe you need a structure for a report that you are creating yourself, you can just copy paste it to your editing app, and you can use these insights. They are ready for you. You have the summary, so the general one sentence summary of what's happening. You have the findings, the quotes, which are really useful, and even next steps that can be recommended based on the answers. I'm going to take a sip of water and let me know if there are any questions in the meantime.
Stephanie had asked, can you use AI tagging on feedback widgets? Or the other, so we have feedback and we have surveys, right? Right now, the AI tagging is only available on surveys. However, I would say that's not going to be forever. It's definitely being worked on.
Yes, absolutely agreed. The trick might be to create a button survey that mimics the feedback widget if you want to use it. So that would be the workaround that I could recommend at this point, up until we have the AI analysis for feedback as well. Good. So we have one last tip to talk about, and it is to create tickets based on the most insightful responses. So I have a question for you again. Could you tell me what is your preferred task management tool that you're using? Or maybe not preferred, but the one that you are actually using with your team. Let's take a look. For the context, it's not just out of curiosity, although I am curious. It's related to the integrations that we have available.
I have a couple. Jira for developers, Rike, which I've never heard of, ClickUp, Notion, any Monday.coms, GitHub.
So we have a lot of
Hey,
options, but
pizza, Monday.
All right, and I'm going to end this poll. So get the last second answers in, and there you go. Majority of
so
people with
yeah,
Jira.
Jira, this is the popular one. And we do have integrations that were mentioned as actual tool names. For all of the other tools, we are happy to pass them as suggestions. But in the future, of course, this integrations pool might expand. For now, we have Jira, Asana, Trello, and Linear. And let me show you what this looks like. So if you're browsing through the responses, maybe you tag them, maybe you use the sentiment analysis, automated tags, and everything in between, and you find a response that's actually kind of insightful, and you might want to pass it to your team. You can click these three dots right here, and you can create an issue or a task for your team. For example, I'm going to create a Jira issue. All of these description boxes, description fields are populated from your Jira setup. So once you set up this integration, you have access to all the descriptions from Jira. You can choose the project, you can choose the issue type, whichever you have in your setup. Then you can write a short summary. You can explain the task for the team. So maybe there was a bug, maybe there was a feature request that's kind of interesting. Maybe you want to use it for your backlog, or maybe you want to use it for new feature ideas and you want to save it in Jira or any other tool that we have integrations with. And once all of the fields are filled in, you click Create Jira Issue, and it will automatically appear in Jira for you. So you don't have to copy paste. You can save a little bit of time and just transfer the most relevant responses to Jira or to any other task management tools that you're using. Not any, the one from the list, of course. And this is it. We are at the end of our top 10 tips for survey creation.